Welcome back to Dow Twang. I'm Dave. We're going to jump right in on this one today and just going to show you, some just soloing ideas and single note approaches to playing over this progression. Now, it's in B flat. If you happen to see that video on YouTube in the last day or two, it's the same progression. And we really just talked about the chords in that one and kind of how you can derive the chords from a major scale if you take, that bucket of notes, I call it, B flat major. Just those 7 notes, you can arrange those things to make a whole family of chords just using those 7 notes. And you get that sound, that. Right? Maybe you're familiar with that, and that's cool. If we're not, we can't cover every foundational piece of theory in every video. We wouldn't get to some of the topics, right? So you don't, what we're about to do, it's going to work out. But if you want to really kind of start putting it all together and kind of open up more doors and connections about how all of this stuff's related, check that one out. And in that video, I cite some other resources on the YouTube channel and some playlists and stuff that really go into explaining that in a more comprehensive way. Okay. So all that being said, let's have some fun. Now, couple of main approaches that are going to sound very familiar to you from if you watch this channel and others. Pentatonic, the major scale, and some triads and stuff, arpeggios, right? The PDF that's attached below here, those are triads. I'm not using any extensions. They're all roots, thirds, and fifths. And of course, you're going to want to use more notes than that when you're improvising and stuff. But it's essential that you know that you have some. You don't have to know them. You don't have to memorize the super caged mega, 3-dimensional. What you don't need all that all the time to play each piece of music, right? It's great if you've got all that going on, but pick an area like on the PDF. I'll just put this up here and just show you. I have to look at it myself actually while we're doing this. There it is. Now, our first 3 chords, and then we'll go through the whole progression, but just to show you what's going on with these triads. If I go, okay, we could go, I did the first one up here, and I'm just taking pieces of these other shapes. There's a B flat, D minor, G minor. So I'm going. Okay, that's just a little routine, right? And then, it goes on down. Here's the next line to the C minor. That's an F, see? So, not going to go through all of those note for note, but there's 2 kind of sequences on there. Actually, it's how the chords go through the whole thing. There's one difference in the second part, and then there's kind of a walk up at the end the second time it goes around. So let's put the backing track on and you'll see what I mean about that part. There's the top of it. Okay. Hold that. Then we go back to the B flat, D minor again, then G minor, G7, then walk it up. So again, B flat, D minor, G minor, hold it, C minor, to the F, back to the B flat. Here's There's that little change. Now walk it. Okay, so you hear that now. Are you starting to kind of get a sense of the meaning of that diatonic term that we're using? You can just tell that those chords come from that. I'm trying to get this tab out of the way of my. It's blocking everything on the screen right now. There we go. So, right, it's predictable. It's easy on the ear. And that's nice because when you're trying to kind of audition a lot of triads and you know work on your technique and stuff, sometimes it's nice to have that kind of to fall back on. It's like I know that I can just go back to that major scale and kind of get back into it. And I encourage you to do that. A lot of music, of course, doesn't just stay in one key, and there's modulations and things, and that's cool, and we want to learn how to navigate those things too. But really let yourself relax into something like this. It'll really pay off. And keep that track going around. Just keep going around with it. So pentatonic stuff works great on this as well as the major scale stuff. And when I'm saying at the end of that, walk it up. Okay, so we're literally walking up the scale. We're going 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Now, a lot of times, I think on the backing track, I might have played some minor sevenths and stuff. I don't remember. But you could just play triads. But if I start adding some sevenths to some of those, remember, there's only 7 notes in that bucket. Those notes will determine what your extensions are going to be, whether it's going to be a natural seventh or a really called a major seventh or a flat 7, right? And I'll just help you out here. When we walk that up, it's going to be minor 7, D minor 7, E major 7, and then F dominant. So that one's got a flat 7. You want to spend time in a simple musical structure like this that's really, features that diatonic sound, right, and flavor, because you can predict what you need to do. And you start to get a real sense of like where the half steps are and where the note next door is that you want. Here's a little bit of an example of what I mean. Let's start off with just some pentatonic stuff then. I snuck one note in there. I'll do it just pentatonic. Now, I decided to take that around a couple more times because I'm not going to keep doing, a bunch of demonstrations of me playing. I just want to show you kind of the nuts and the bolts of this and then get you to the backing track, all right? So here's some ideas. We talked about the pentatonic, whether we think of it as kind of in parts of the song, it's kind of seems more like that minor pentatonic centered around the G minor, right? And then other times it's clearly B flat major pentatonic. Those are the same notes: relative, major, and minor. Then I just showed you some examples early on in that last little bit that I played, where I'm going along. Then when I get to that, I just get to that third of that C minor, right down to the third of the F, and then just dig back into that pentatonic. It just feels so good. You'll like I said, keep taking it around. You're gonna play no, don't start trying to, make a riddle out of it. Just go back, and if you move to the wrong half step to hit that one chord, cycle it back around and audition another one. And so you don't do it by doing all the thinking, and then you don't figure it out in your head and then play. You play, make mistakes, hear what works, sort it out, then you mortar in an axiom or a sort of a cognitive understanding of it. That's really important. It's the order of those two things. We can't just sit and read stuff on paper and then go out and, play music or whatever, right? It's the other way around. You got to do both. And you got to let both of them sort of inform one another. So we got the pentatonic stuff. Don't be afraid to just get in there and really use that major scale too. Now, this climbing thing, it's a really good example. If we just kind of break this down into triads, let's say, and the climbing part that I'm referring to is now, a lot of these triads and things that go with those chords would work in different places throughout this piece, by the way. But let's do it like this. Okay, hear how that climbed right up the scale. And now I did, so it's kind of like different adjacent string sets of those. Let's say I went. All right, let's say I did the top two strings. Go ahead and make the chord again, then just look at it. Okay, now see what's happening? All of a sudden, you're playing all those. They're all, and that's how you get that stuff, right? You don't have to, get out some crazy piece of tab or something that shows you every one of those, right? Do it by looking at chords and seeing the chords and the scales and how there's only 7 notes. And it's before you know it, it's like, man, this isn't as complicated as maybe I originally thought, right? Now, the stylizing of it and the feeling and the sound, the musical aspects of it, of course, that takes time. And you'll get there. And you have a certain style that's yours. That doesn't matter how much tab and YouTube videos and stuff you watch. It's always going to sound like you. Yeah, go ahead and just embrace that. Right? Everybody else is taken. It's only one thing you can sound like. It's you. Right? But we all love to share our ideas and different examples, and by watching others and playing with others, even better, um, and playing with backing tracks and stuff, we get to just really carve out that style of our own. So I don't want to, you know, overthink this thing that I just showed you about the, but you can do, you can start putting kind of more extensions and stuff in there too. Say if there were sevenths, if I want. See, we were just the tab that I showed you is just triads, and we've really just been talking about triads. But what if I put what's the seventh for a minor, for that C minor seven? It's B flat. So that's a major seven. It's a major triad for the E. But the seventh is also just 1 degree below the root. That's what major seven means, right? So now listen to this. Flat seven. That's the 5 chord. It's a dominant seventh chord. Okay. So now you start separating out, 2 note things and stuff that have the seventh in it, and you've got a whole other kind of, rotation of these things. So there's one line. Sorry. If you play a wrong note and you're already swimming around in this diatonic bucket, you're gonna know it right away, right? It's not subtle. It's like, oh no, that's not it. I'll just correct it, right? So, but what if I treat my the C7 as being in this position, and that's a seventh, flat seven. So now I've got a fifth of the C minor and a flat seven. So I know if my move is from here to a D minor, 2 doors up, that's a little piece of a E flat major seven. Now, just chew on that a little bit at a time right there. But that, you see what's going on? These shapes and things are not things that have to be memorized in one particular sequence and then always addressed that way, right? That the but if it's true to the diatonic system as it is in this case, they will always work out the same way, but you can put them in different orders and you can see them as different chords. Okay, so, you know, choose your battles, all right? Warm up with the triads. Get your pentatonic stuff going. Start to make those adjustments here and there. When you need a half step or something, or another note, the first good example, I think, is when it goes. Those 2 notes need to be added in there, right? They're the thirds of the C sharp minor and the F, it's dominant, but just an F major triad. And those little things, when you start to, zero in on those with your ear, your hand, trust me, it's just going to move to them because you're looking for them. Your musical brain is searching for them. And like I said, the treasure map this time is not, there's no trickery. It's right next door, right? So, hope you have fun with this one. Thanks again for all the support. We really appreciate it. It's just a wonderful thing to know that you all are getting something out of this and it's benefiting us as well. And that just really works out. It's really cool. Very grateful for it. Thanks. I'll see you next week.